And we're very excited to have with us Amber Deni Harling. Amber, where are you joining us from?
I'm coming from Carrollton, Georgia. I'm at my home.
In Carrollton, Georgia.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
you're originally from Detroit, and I understand you began your interest in music at the tender age of 5.
Yes, sir. I all started in church. My mother was the minister of music
Oh,
at our church. So I was in the youth choir at that time, and it just stuck with me ever since.
uh-huh. And when did you start studying? Now, vocalists really don't study really at the very young age.
No.
So, were you playing an instrument at all before then?
I didn't start playing an instrument up until my seventh grade year. I picked up the alto saxophone
Alto.
and I picked up a little bit of piano as well. That's just from messing around, from seeing upright pianos at random churches. Then the saxophone was my main instrument. So as far as singing, I didn't get into it full time until high school. I
Right.
would predict.
Yeah. And did you study privately at the high school?
No, I did not. I was only in chorus and theater, so I did a lot of musical theater. So classical music wasn't even in my repertoire up until I got to college.
Uh-huh. And then it hit you, classical
Yes,
music. Yeah,
big time.
yeah. We'll talk a little bit about you. It obviously did because you're singing one of the four last songs by Strauss at this concert, which is a very demanding piece. So, what was your first impression on hearing? I'm sure you heard classical music as a young girl and then in high
hmm
school, but actually singing it. What was that experience like?
Uh, I want to say when I first attended Valdosta State my freshman year, that one of the classes that was required of me to take with my music degree was opera musical theater. And as I said earlier, I participated in a lot of musical theater productions in high school. So musical theater was kind of like that turn on to me. Little did I realize it was mostly opera. So I said, oh my goodness, I have no idea what I'm doing. Even though I've done classical masterworks before in high school between Mozart's Requiem, Carmina Burana,
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Bernstein's Chichester Psalms.
God.
However, my when I did my first opera, it was a Zarzuela. I was very, very interested, and I said, okay, I can look more into this. And the more productions that I had participated between Valdosta State and University of West Georgia, the more I fell in love with it.
People, I get the impression, the idea that people, when they hear someone sing classical or anything, they don't understand the technique involved. It is so difficult,
It really
and
is.
there are so many aspects to it that nobody has any idea. But when you started studying professionally, or studying with privately, were you yourself surprised at how much there is to know?
Oh, let's just say my whole world was shook when I first realized how demanding how demanding it is to have certain technique to just to sound decent in classical music. So when I took my very first private lesson at Valdosta State, I did not know anything. I only knew half of the battle, maybe only a third of the battle. The rest was just like fighting through, not only just to find my voice, but to understand the technique itself. And it was very demanding, and I was so grateful for the professor, my very first voice teacher, Marty Schertz. I was very, very grateful of her guidance and leading me into understanding, and of course, with my voice professors down the line.
You'll be interested, and I'll make this very brief. My first lesson in college, my instrument was alto saxophone.
Oh, nice.
I played it in high school and everything, but I was always sharp. I was always having to pull it out to get the tone lower. So
Mm-hmm.
I gave it to my teacher, and I said, Brad, there's something wrong with the saxophone. It's always blowing sharp. So he didn't laugh or anything, but and it was a Selmer. A Selmer Mark IV was the best saxophone that money could
Nice.
buy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, let me try it. So I almost switched majors at that moment.
Oh.
And then he said to me, I want you to put it down. I want you to sit very quietly in the chair there, and I want you to breathe in. I said, you want me to breathe in? He said, yeah. So naturally I did this. And then he said, I want you to yawn. You want me to yawn? I wonder what. So he said, what happened? He said, well, my throat opened. He said, right, now play the saxophone with your throat open. And of course I wasn't sharp anymore.
Nice, very nice.
But it's an illustration of what it really takes to master an instrument, whether it's a vocal or an alto saxophone.
Absolutely.
So I learned. Now, tell me briefly about the Strauss. Why did you choose the Strauss?
When I attended graduate school, my voice professor at the time at University of West Georgia, Dr. Don Neely, picked this piece because for my graduate research, my recital was surrounded on the ancient Greek psychology of the levels of love. And Morgan just happens to come across her mind, and she introduced me to it. So I did my little listening activity with it, read the translations, and I absolutely fell in love with the piece. And especially when I found out that Strauss had originally written this for his wife Pauline. And it was so sweet. And I only heard it through piano and solo violin and voice. I didn't listen to the orchestral version until a year later. I was introduced to this, and it's not only the text that drew me in, it was the entire composition from the strings to the brass. Every nook and cranny of that composition just drew me in, and I became obsessed.
He's probably one of the greatest orchestrators who ever lived.
I agree, and I still love Death and Transfigurations. That's one of my favorite orchestral pieces from Strauss.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. Now I understand that you're going to be married pretty soon. You're engaged to a guitarist who is the guitarist in a group that you play with, the Fervor.
Yes.
Do I have that right?
Yes, Deni Phoenix and the Fervor. His name is.
And you're Deni Phoenix. That's.
And I am Deni Phoenix. That's my stage name. I don't go by it when I sing classically. I just go by Deni. But yes, I am. I got engaged this past April. My fiance proposed to me. We are members of the Carroll County Community Chorus, and he proposed to me in front of the audience right after the concert. So our entire family was there, and of course the members of the ensemble, our director and colleagues. It was the sweetest proposal ever, and Daniel is such a wonderful man and an excellent guitarist, excellent vocalist. He's one himself, but maybe one of the funniest men I have ever met. If he was sitting right here right now, he'll probably have us laughing. We'll get off topic because we're laughing so hard.
Okay. Well, I hope your marriage is. I hope you keep laughing through the marriage. That's the best thing you can do.
Absolutely.
So I want to wish you the best in your future endeavors, and congratulations on the upcoming marriage. When is the marriage?
We haven't decided on a date yet, so we're thinking 2026. So next year, I keep forgetting we're in the new year. So next year, regardless of when it happens, I'm just happy to have him in my life.
Terrific. Well, congratulations and good luck with everything you're going to be doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amber.